2. The fat man at the doctor's office and God's care, of course. This is exactly the text we start the whole drama with. No, we don't need it, but let's try anyway. Are you ready? Yes. First, a fat man came into the doctor's office at Amalienborgatan 23. There were people waiting everywhere. They had actually lined up before opening time. They were qualified to wait. The fat man pushed his way through and sat in the first row, just half a meter from the door to the doctor's. Yes, there were several doctors there, a doctor's office community, so to speak. All names were called out. Everyone was allowed in. They had booked an appointment in advance. They had done a minimum of preparation. The fat man was not called out. He had taken the chance to just show up. Time passed slowly in the small waiting room. When will it be my turn? Thought the fat man. The gods knew. Or God himself knew. He knows everything. He can do everything. Reads my thoughts before I have thought them. He judges me either up and down and to the side without me knowing anything. He is supposedly a good God. He follows me from the cradle to the grave. Even before conception, yes, long before I was intended, but also long before that too, probably millions of years before I was born. He follows me closely every second, every minute, every hour, every day and night, every week, every month, every year, my whole life until I stand face to face with death and the grave. But he follows me after the grave through the realm of the dead, out on the other side to judgment, where I may, along with quite a few, escape to a paradise. Or I simply fail the exam requirements and am thrown into a burning lake filled with brimstone and all kinds of long burning material along with most people on this planet. There, our good God has finally gathered everyone he can torture alive for eternity. This is supposedly an act of love, we have heard. And we poor people have a lot to learn from this incomprehensible universal wisdom that this implies. A little apropos to the previous paragraph. It all seems infantile, tragic, purely parodic and comical. Is it really possible to drum myths and fairy tales so emphatically into people's skulls that large demographic cultures are formed with church buildings, congregations and institutions with a distorted picture of reality? In addition, it is claimed that the Almighty knows everything about the past, present, and future, and that everything is predestined, i.e., everything is predetermined. What about free will? If God has free will, do we have free will if everything is rigged in advance? The Calvinists became a relatively influential religious branch in the Reformation Europe of the 16th century. They point to the message of the Bible in Romans chapter 9, where God is the one who decides who will be saved or not. Because everything that happens has been predetermined by God himself. This raises a number of issues. Does that mean that my life is predetermined, that my will doesn't matter much from or to? God knows who will become criminals and who will become philanthropists even before we are born, just as easy to enter the role first as last. Why this theological interpretation now? Yes, I'm thinking of Juckerson. Doesn't he have any real choices? The idea of predestination is rather absurd, but if we take a look at Spinoza's God, we also find the idea of predestination. The idea that free will is an illusion keeps coming up in all kinds of philosophical debates. No one has managed to fully solve this problem. But it often assumes that there is a God, and that this God knows everything, etc. If, on the other hand, we disregard that and imagine a universe without a God or gods, the matter becomes a little simpler. My immediate thought is that there is a difference between events in a macro versus micro perspective. It is quite possible that the big lines, the million-year-long movements carry prediction, while on the microplane there is room for free expression and apparently free will is present. There is something fascinating about Spinoza's worldview anyway. The pantheistic thinking in the direction of naturalism has fascinated many thinkers and, in my opinion, a liberation from theological dogmatism. The fear of gods, demons and a burning hell disappears like dew before the sun. Another aspect is that Spinoza opens the door to the great mystery we call consciousness. As of today, no one has fully and convincingly explained what consciousness is. Many proposals have been put on the table, but no crystal clear explanation. It was starting to get hot in the waiting room. An old lady marked by material skeletal wear and tear on legs, bones and posture, simply burdened by broken striving and general metabolism. This inner machine that provides healthy food and oxygen so that the body can get through the day. She attempted a hopeful approach to the exit door, but was unsuccessful, had to give up. She was breathing heavily. She must have been a tough lady in her glory days in the small southern town of Mandal. But the times around her changed in so many ways. The fat woman was suddenly slapped by Chief Inspector Grunner, probably for coming late. The fat woman sat back, stunned.